In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 college football games happening on December 31st, 2024, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 8 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 college football games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start, if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Alabama versus Michigan. 2 of the nation's premier college football programs are set to face each other for the second time in as many seasons, this time at the ReliaQuest Bowl on Tuesday. The matchup will feature the Michigan Wolverines squaring off against the Alabama Crimson Tide. Alabama concluded their regular season with an impressive 9-3 record, but failed to secure a spot in the college football playoffs, marking only the 3rd time in the past 11 years that the Tide have missed out on the postseason's biggest stage. Meanwhile, Michigan comes into this bowl game with a 7-5 record, riding a modest 2-game winning streak. Despite claiming the national championship last year, Michigan fell short of qualifying for the playoffs this season. The Alabama Crimson Tide will take on the Michigan Wolverines in Tampa, Florida, in what promises to be a competitive ReliaQuest Bowl. Alabama had hopes of sneaking into the college football playoff after the regular season ended, but instead, they find themselves in a mid-tier bowl game. The Crimson Tide finished 9-3, with their late-season loss to Oklahoma effectively ending their playoff aspirations. With new head coach Kalen DeBoer at the helm, Alabama will look to use this game as a stepping stone to reaffirm their dominance and chart a positive direction for the program. Michigan, on the other hand, wrapped up their regular season on a high note by defeating Ohio State. The Wolverines, who posted a 7-5 record this season, are led by their new head coach, Sharon Moore. Moore demonstrated his ability to inspire the team in an interim capacity last season, and now he seeks to prove he can lead Michigan to victory on this stage. Alabama's performance this season has fluctuated between looking like one of the nation's elite teams and appearing decidedly average. In matchups against powerhouse programs like Georgia, LSU, and Wisconsin, the Crimson Tide showcase their dominance in the trenches, controlling the line of scrimmage and dictating the pace of play. However, in games against Vanderbilt, Tennessee, and Oklahoma, Alabama's rushing attack faltered, exposing vulnerabilities and leaving them susceptible to defeat. Michigan, conversely, has shown resilience against run-heavy teams like Ohio State and Minnesota. The Wolverines boast the 4th best rushing defense in the country, allowing just 92.6 yards per game. Offensively, however, Michigan has struggled mightily, averaging only 302.1 yards per game, placing them near the bottom of the FBS rankings at 130th. While Michigan's defense might be capable of slowing Alabama's ground game, the Crimson Tide's defense could stifle the Wolverines' anemic offense. Adding to Michigan's challenges, they will be without 10 players for this game, while Alabama has 8 absences. Statistically, Alabama ranks 34th in offensive production and 27th in defensive performance based on yards per game. Michigan's offensive woes have been a significant issue throughout the season, and their challenges are compounded by the absence of their top 2 running backs and leading receivers. Their quarterback, Davis Warren, has not shown the ability to shoulder the offensive load, posting a lackluster 6-9 touchdown to interception ratio for the year. This leaves the Wolverines in a precarious position offensively as they prepare to face a formidable Alabama team. The Crimson Tide, meanwhile, will be led by quarterback Jalen Milroe, whose dual threat capabilities have been a bright spot. Although Milroe threw 10 interceptions this season, his combined total of 35 rushing and passing touchdowns highlights his ability to compensate for mistakes with explosive playmaking. Alabama remains stacked with 5-star talent and should have little trouble building and maintaining a 2-touchdown lead over Michigan. Alabama has struggled at times against elite defenses this season, but they are set to face a Michigan team that will be missing its 2 best defensive players. The Wolverines' inability to generate consistent offensive production makes it unlikely they can keep pace with an Alabama team that ranks 15th nationally in scoring. Earlier this season, the Crimson Tide put up 41 points against Wisconsin, the only Big Ten team they faced. By contrast, Michigan failed to score more than 17 points in 4 of their last 5 games. Alabama enters this game with added motivation, having lost to Michigan in last year's semifinals and missing the playoff this season. Additionally, Michigan may find it difficult to match the intensity they displayed in their emotional victory over Ohio State, especially given the key players they will be without in Alabama's formidable 10th-ranked scoring defense. This game could become lopsided quickly. In my estimation, Alabama has much more to prove in this matchup, as a convincing win over Michigan would reinforce the notion that they belonged in the playoff conversation. Ultimately, it's hard to envision a scenario where Michigan is able to consistently move the ball and keep pace with Alabama, so the Alabama Crimson Tide to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Despite Michigan's struggles offensively, Alabama's potent attack should be able to generate a substantial point total. Michigan's turnover issues, they rank 90th in turnover margin, are a recipe for disaster against Alabama's disciplined and powerful offense. Head coach Kalen DeBoer and his team will be determined to cap off his first season in style, and there's little reason to believe Alabama will take their foot off the gas against an undermanned Wolverines squad. Look for Alabama to score at least 30 points, with Michigan doing enough to push the combined score past the projected total. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. Baylor versus LSU. The 8-4 LSU Tigers, representing the Southeastern Conference with a 5-3 conference record, will clash with the 8-4 Baylor Bears, boasting a 6-3 Big 12 record, in the 2024 Kinders Texas Bowl. For LSU, a program historically accustomed to competing on the national stage for championships, this season fell short of their lofty expectations. Under the leadership of quarterback Garrett Nussmeier, the Bayou Bengals navigated a campaign that saw them suffer pivotal losses to Texas Agricultural and Mechanical, Alabama, and Florida. Although earning a spot in a New Year's Eve bowl game checks one box for postseason play, it is far from the aspirations typically held in Baton Rouge. On the other hand, Baylor arrives at this matchup with considerable momentum, riding the high of 6 consecutive victories, a remarkable mid-season turnaround under the guidance of head coach Dave Aranda. Dave Aranda is no stranger to LSU fans, as he played a critical role in the Tigers' 2019 national championship run, serving as the mastermind behind their defensive strategy. His steady leadership this season has been instrumental in Baylor's resurgence following an early season slump marked by 3 consecutive losses. The team's revival has been powered by quarterback Sawyer Robertson, who stepped into the starting role midseason during a game against Air Force and has been nothing short of impressive since then. Historically, these two teams have crossed paths 11 times, with LSU holding an 8-3 edge in the series. However, it's worth noting that their last meeting occurred in 1985 when Baylor emerged victorious in the Liberty Bowl. Interestingly, their only other bowl game encounter dates back to the 1963 Bluebonnet Bowl, where Baylor also defeated the Tigers. Initially, this game appeared much more competitive on paper when the matchup was first announced, but there remains a strong case for supporting Baylor in this contest. The Bears have proven themselves to be a reliable team against the spread over the past couple of months. In the current era of college football, where bowl games are frequently impacted by player opt-outs and a high volume of roster movements due to the transfer portal, Baylor's approach is refreshing. Head coach Dave Aranda has stated that his top players, including quarterback Sawyer Robertson, are fully committed to participating in this game. This commitment stands in stark contrast to LSU, a team that will be missing a significant portion of its roster, including both starting offensive tackles, multiple key wide receivers, its starting tight end, and several depth players in the secondary. The Tigers are expected to start 3 freshmen along the offensive line, a scenario that presents considerable challenges against a Baylor defense ranked 7th in rushing success rate allowed and 32nd in defensive expected points added per play. Given that LSU's running game struggled even with a healthy offensive line earlier in the season, it is likely that their ground attack will face major obstacles in this matchup. If the Tigers frequently find themselves in long yardage situations, quarterback Garrett Nussmeier will face an uphill battle trying to convert on third downs with consistent success. Turning to Baylor's offensive capabilities, Sawyer Robertson has been a revelation, particularly in the latter half of the season. With 30 touchdowns and only 7 interceptions, he has been performing at a level comparable to some of the nation's best quarterbacks. The Bears boast a top 20 passing offense and excel on third downs, which bodes well against an LSU secondary depleted by injuries and opt-outs. LSU's defense has shown vulnerabilities throughout the season, as evidenced by its struggles against high-powered offenses like Alabama, Florida, and Texas Agricultural and Mechanical. The unit ranks 83rd in passing success rate allowed and 92nd in early downs expected points added, providing Baylor with ample opportunities to exploit weaknesses. Additionally, LSU's struggles extend to stopping the run and limiting conversions on 3rd and 4th downs, making it likely that the Bears will find multiple avenues to score. Questions also linger about LSU's focus and motivation for this game, as head coach Brian Kelly and his staff may already be shifting their attention to transfer portal moves and preparations for next season. While LSU undoubtedly possesses more raw talent than Baylor, much of that talent will be unavailable for this game, creating an uphill battle for the Tigers. It's hard to envision LSU's defense securing enough stops to slow down Baylor's efficient and dynamic offense. The Bears, led by Robertson, are likely to move the ball effectively and minimize turnovers. This scenario puts significant pressure on LSU's offense, which is now forced to operate without its starting offensive tackles. Nussmeier is dealing with injuries, and the Tigers' backup quarterbacks have largely departed, leaving the offense in a precarious position. With Baylor's defense consistently creating turnovers, LSU's lack of a reliable ground game could spell doom for their chances of staying competitive. Considering all the factors, including Baylor's motivation to close out their season on a high note, this matchup seems primed for the Bears to capitalize on their strengths and deliver a convincing performance. So the Baylor Bears to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Both teams possess explosive offenses, particularly in their passing games, with their starting quarterbacks enjoying strong seasons. This game is poised to feature numerous big plays, especially given the vulnerabilities in both teams' secondaries. For Baylor, their ability to establish a successful ground game will open up additional opportunities for their aerial attack. Conversely, while LSU's offense might find Baylor's defense less formidable than some of the Southeastern Conference defenses they face, the Tigers still bring significant firepower to the field. LSU quarterback Garrett Nussmeier has been a standout performer, finishing second in the Southeastern Conference in passing yards and demonstrating his ability to efficiently lead the offense. With playmakers like Aaron Anderson and Caden Durham in the backfield, LSU's passing attack remains a potent threat capable of challenging even strong defenses. However, Baylor's defense, while resilient at times, has occasionally struggled against high-powered offenses, allowing substantial yardage in those matchups. On the other side, Baylor's offense, led by Robertson, has been equally impressive. Robertson closed the season with outstanding stats, including 25 touchdowns, and his development during Big 12 play has been instrumental in the Bears' success. Both teams seem motivated to finish the season on a high note, setting the stage for a high-scoring affair. With LSU's explosive offense facing a Baylor defense that hasn't encountered a Southeastern Conference opponent this season, and Baylor's offense taking on an inconsistent Tigers defense, the conditions are ripe for fireworks. Given that both teams average over 30 points per game and bring significant offensive skill to the table, this game is likely to surpass the projected total. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. Penn State versus Boise State. Among the college football playoff teams, only one will know they have secured a spot in the semifinals before the year concludes. For those looking to capitalize on the action, we have predictions for the highly anticipated Fiesta Bowl matchup between Penn State and Boise State. The number 6 Nittany Lions rebounded impressively from their loss in the Big Ten Championship by decisively defeating number 11 SMU 38-10 in the first round of college football playoff. On the other hand, the number 3 Broncos earned a bye to this stage of the competition. They've had a chance to recuperate since their December 6th victory over UNLV, a 21-7 triumph in the Mountain West Championship. This marks the first ever meeting between these two programs, and the stakes couldn't be higher. The game will take place at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona, promising a thrilling conclusion to the year for fans of both teams. One of the most unforgettable games in the history of college football occurred on New Year's Day in 2007 when Oklahoma and Boise State faced off in a Fiesta Bowl Classic. That game not only delivered one of the greatest upsets in sports history, but also firmly established Boise State as a rising powerhouse on the national stage. Now, nearly 18 years later, Boise State finds itself back in a similar position as an underdog against one of college football's premier programs. While this narrative doesn't directly influence the analysis of the upcoming matchup, it does highlight Boise State's history of thriving in moments like these. The Broncos are no strangers to competing against teams with superior depth and talent, and they are unlikely likely to be intimidated by the Nittany Lions' star-studded roster. Boise State's offensive strategy positions them well as a double-digit underdog. Their approach will likely lean heavily on the ground game, which remains their strength. Although Penn State will anticipate a run-heavy game plan, the Broncos will still look to their star running back, Ashton Jeanty, to carry the load. Jeanty has proven to be an exceptional talent, capable of grinding out tough yards while also breaking off explosive runs that can shift momentum. The first few possessions of the game will be crucial, and Boise State's fresh offensive line and well-rested Jeanty will need to deliver their best performance in the opening half. Furthermore, while quarterback Maddox Madsen may not be an elite athlete, he has reliable weapons in the passing game and has consistently risen to the occasion in critical moments, evident in both of Boise State's matchups against UNLV this season. The outcome of this game will largely hinge on the performance of Boise State's defense as they attempt to contain Penn State's potent offense. Although the Nittany Lions have been firing on all cylinders in recent weeks, SMU managed to apply significant pressure on their quarterback in the previous round. SMU's struggles were more pronounced on offense than defense, suggesting there are vulnerabilities in Penn State's armor. Boise State's aggressive, blitz-heavy defense has been a cornerstone of their success all season, ranking second in the nation in sack rate, 18th in early downs expected points added, and 20th in defensive success rate. While this will undoubtedly be the second-best offense Boise State has faced this season, the Broncos' defense, led by Spencer Danielson, should still manage to disrupt Penn State's rhythm and generate a few critical stops against quarterback Drew Aller and the Nittany Lions' high-powered attack. Although Penn State's 38-10 victory over SMU suggests an offensive clinic, the game's early stages told a different story. The Nittany Lions benefited from 2 defensive touchdowns off interceptions, masking the fact that their offense initially struggled to find its footing. They cannot rely on such defensive heroics against a quarterback like Maddox Madsen, who boasts an impressive 22-3 touchdown-to-interception ratio and hasn't thrown an interception in his last 4 games. Boise State's offense, spearheaded by Jeanty, will look to dominate time of possession and field position. Jeanty's ability to sustain drives and keep the clock running will limit the number of possessions for both teams. With just 1 loss all season, a narrow 3-point defeat against Oregon, Boise State has proven they can hang with elite competition. Penn State will face a tough challenge in attempting to blow out a team that ranks 3rd nationally in scoring, averaging 39 points per game. Given these dynamics, the point spread seems overly generous in favor of Penn State, particularly in a neutral site game. Boise State possesses the nation's best running back and a quarterback who minimizes mistakes, creating a recipe for competitiveness. While Penn State is still likely to emerge victorious on Tuesday, don't be surprised if Boise State keeps the score close. So the Boise State Broncos to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. This game features a clash between 2 top 25 scoring offenses, each powered by some of the most formidable rushing attacks in college football. Despite relying on the ground game, both teams excel at generating significant yardage and putting themselves in scoring positions quickly. Penn State demonstrated their offensive firepower in their opening round win over SMU, scoring 38 points in what marked their 3rd consecutive game with at least 37 points. It was also their 5th such performance this season. For Boise State, the extended layoff since their last game should have allowed them to recover physically and craft a strategic game plan. The Broncos have scored at least 28 points in 11 games this year, underscoring their offensive consistency. If both teams stick to their strengths, this matchup could evolve into a fast-paced ground duel. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.